Based on the evidence we presented, the grand jury has returned an indictment charging 61 people with violation of the Georgia Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act.
In the state of Georgia, over 60 individuals in Georgia have been indicted on racketeering, influence, and corrupt organization charges related to their opposition to the Atlanta Public Safety Training Center known as Cop City. We've covered this for some time back when there were domestic terrorism charges levied against about 40 individuals who had been organizing and gathering in the forest. They have been known as the forest defenders. They have been trying to protect the 90 acres of land, that publicly owned land that has been donated to the policing agencies that are behind this attempt to build a playground for police officers. They're going to have a movie set, not a movie theater, but a movie set, a helo pad, all kinds of toys and gadgets for them to quote unquote train. Well, in opposition to that, there have been activists who have made homes in the forest on publicly owned land, and they have stood there to oppose this seizure of land, this destruction of the forest, and this promotion that the cops are being given in the wake of the George Floyd protest. Listen, before I go any deeper, I need people to understand Cop City is the giveaway, the participation trophy, the consolation prize given to police who had to endure the George Floyd protest. I put it that way because when we pause and ask ourselves, what did black people get out of what happened to George Floyd and all of the protests? We didn't get any criminal justice reform. We didn't get any type of reforms at all with the policing agency. The only thing we got was more police. We didn't get any protection of our voting rights. We didn't get the George Floyd justice and all those acts that the Congress promised. That we did nothing. But what did the police get? Well, they got a $90 million facility that's going to sit on so many acres in the middle of the public forest that's owned by the people. And there have been protesters who have been holding the line against this for a few years now. It's been a while. And those individuals, 60 of them now, are facing RICO charges. RICO charges. And so when we talk about Georgia and we talk about RICO, while that RICO charge has been used efficiently against the criminal syndicate that is the Trump organization and their attempt to overturn the election results, we're now seeing the same RICO statute be used against activists, forest defenders. And I want you to listen very closely to how these individuals are being described. The indictment characterizes the opposition movement known as Defend the Atlanta Forest as an enterprise of militant anarchists, eco-activists, and community organizers. What? Community organizers? Now being a community organizer is considered to be a part of a RICO statute. What's essentially going on, and I have a clip from Georgia Attorney General Chris Carr, who is prosecuting the case. He has been hinting that they were going to do this for some time. So the clip I'm going to play is a little old, but it gives you an idea of how long they have been preparing to wage this type of war against activists who are trying to defend the forest, who are trying to defend the black community that is right next to these acres that the cops want to use. And they're trying to stand against this promotion, this participation trophy prize. There's literally not a single need or a reason for this facility to exist, except for the fact that the cops are spoiled and get literally everything they want or ask for. And this is being committed not by Republicans in the city of Atlanta. Nope. This is not being committed by white folks in the city of Atlanta. This is being sent down by black Democrats in Atlanta, the misleadership class, including my favorite Keisha Lance Bottoms, right? She initiated this, and now Andre Dickens, he is the mayor of Atlanta now, who is pushing this. Listen to Georgia Attorney General Chris Carr as he explains this case.
As I've said for months, the state of Georgia would not tolerate the repeated acts of violence and destruction that have occurred in an attempt to stop the construction of the Atlanta Public Safety Training Center, a state-of-the-art facility for firefighters, EMTs, and law enforcement. I vowed as Attorney General to hold accountable those responsible for those actions. Today, I am pleased to announce the latest development in our vigorous pursuit of the suspects. Following an investigation conducted by the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, the Atlanta Police Department, the Georgia Department of Public Safety, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and other law enforcement partners, our office took this case to a Fulton County grand jury on August 29th. Based on the evidence we presented, the grand jury has returned an indictment charging 61 people with violation of the Georgia Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act. Some are also charged with domestic terrorism, attempted arson in the first degree, and money laundering. As alleged in the indictment, the defendants are members of Defend the Atlanta Forest, an anarchist, anti-police, and anti-business extremist organization. We contend these 61 defendants together have conspired to prevent the construction of the Atlanta Public Safety Training Center by conducting, coordinating, and organizing acts of violence, intimidation, and property destruction.
Now, I let that play completely through because anyone who has paid attention to this story knows that the violence has come from one side. In fact, the police have killed one of the protesters, and listen, let's call these people what they really are. And I don't mean this in an insulting way, but these are tree huggers. These are peace activists. These are people who have committed their lives. They've set up inside of trees, literally tree houses, to protect the trees. And here they're describing them as some kind of monsters, anarchists who want to destroy. The key phrase in there was that he lumped them in as being anti-business. They are blocking a $90 million project. Those $90 million are supposed to go to some contractor who wants those checks. They want that business. And so we are seeing the complete consolidation of a fascist movement happen right in Atlanta. It's being brought to us by a black Democratic mayor, and it's being waged against people who are trying to defend the environment. All while, by the way, have you noticed how much climate change we really are experiencing? Have you noticed the intensity of the storms? Have you noticed the intensity of the fires? So forgive me if I'm going to side with the people who are not only trying to defend the black community from more police being put right next to their homes, but there are people who are trying to defend the forest, trying to defend the environment from this wasteful spending that's going to create an environmental hazard right there in the middle of public forest lands. But those individuals, those tree huggers, and I mean that in a positive way, those people who are willing to put their lives on the line to protect the environment and to protect the black community from an excess giveaway, something the police don't need. They don't even cut on their body cams after we've given them millions upon millions of dollars of body cameras. They have not stopped killing us despite the fact that we've given them millions upon millions of dollars in training.